And welcome to Soups and Sabers. I am Chris. With me today is Chris. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Good. We're going to start a radio show, Chris and Chris in the morning. But
That would be a great radio show
it
title.
really would. It'd be easy to remember. Um, I'd be really excited for that. I don't know why this format is a little not how it's supposed to be. There we go. That's what
Ah,
it's supposed to look like. And
now we're in
and now
business.
we're in business and we're talking about Absolute Batman #7. Really good issue. It's an issue that we both had to revisit. We both have kind of funny stories about that we kind of talked about off air. But we had to revisit this. Our coverage is a little late, and we were supposed to have Ron here. We're calling this the cursed issue because everything that could
Mhm.
go wrong outside of the issue has gone wrong, and we're getting it done here. Um, and Chris, what were your first impressions on this issue?
So, first impressions were I liked it, as I've liked pretty much every issue of Absolute Batman, but I liked it. I wasn't thrilled with the art the first time around. And to be honest, I'm still not in love with it the second time around, but I found more that I did like.
Yeah, I'm in a very similar boat with the art. I think most of the art works for me. I don't really like the shadowy, uh, like him talking to his friends in the alley kind of thing. Um,
It, it feels like they were trying to do the long Halloween, and then like you get the look of Bruce, and I don't. He kind of reminds me of, you remember the animated series, The Batman, the way Bruce
yeah,
looked, kind of like a weird Mark Cuban type face.
that's a good way to say it. Yeah,
That's kind of what he looks like here, and I didn't like it then. I don't like it now.
yeah, I'm kind of with you on the Bruce thing. I think the Arc M stuff is really cool. And I think
Mhm.
the little reconnaissance where he's flying and then, he's detected because the snow stops. I think that looks really cool. And we'll get to the story in a second here. But I think that looks
That was
really cool. Um,
mhm.
there are some panels here that are like really awesome, like at the end where you got that splash page with Victor Jr. Explaining the backstory. That's a pretty
Mhm.
awesome page. There's some stuff that artistically really works for me, and there's some stuff that really
I
doesn't.
love I love the way they actually show the cape being used in this one. I think more than we have before. Like there's that shot of when he's climbing up the building and he looks like a bat from the
Hmm.
back because the way the cape is arranged and you have the hooks up there. I thought that was a brilliant shot in this comic. Just a beautiful panel. Then, like you mentioned, that one where he's gliding under the blimp. It's really nice. But then you got other stuff. So
Yeah, it's an aesthetic choice, I think, for me. It's really the first aesthetic choice of the series that hasn't really jived with me. I know I'm famous for not liking the bat suit, and I think, and we've talked about how it's better in the issues than it is on the original covers, like when it was teased.
Mhm.
Um, I'm never going to be in love with this design of Batman, but like the series itself and the way it's been presented has been really awesome and fun. So aesthetically wasn't my favorite, but I guess we should start talking about the story here. We get started by the Bat Friends, as I call them, talking
Mhm.
about
A little
Matches
restless.
Malone. Um, and Matches Malone usually is an alias for Bruce when he's not in the costume. In this, it is a whole nother character. And Matches Malone, it was called Matches because they played this game with matches where if you got it to land the right way, you could pick who does the dare, and he would always pick himself. So, like it was when he was a kid, Bruce asked him to help him look into Arc M and help him get in. And Matches took the dare on himself and kind of infiltrated the Arc M thing. And he's like, hey, it's, operational and everything. He's talking to Bruce, and a really vile death happens where it's like this microorganism
Grisly.
death. Like it looks like he's pizza like on a panel. Like it looks like he's being turned into pizza.
I thought it looked like he was turning into Freddy Krueger
That it kind of
in a
does
way,
look like that.
which I'm good either way though. Pizza face though reminds me of Spaceballs, which I love.
You really can't go wrong here.
Yeah, Spaceballs, or if you're into Freddy, either way, like you said, it's a win.
Yeah,
And
it's a win
it's
for everyone but
aesthetically
matches.
interesting. Yeah, poor Mitchell. He did not win this one, but I think that's another thing in the win category for the art on this one.
Yeah,
And also the way it unfolds, thanks to Snyder's storytelling, it's not something you expected to see in the past.
yeah, it's kind of a jump scare, like almost like in a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I gotta imagine this is where the song hits, and then you see the face like, oh, what is
yeah,
that?
and like or just like a really sharp noise from like a snare, and then yeah,
Yeah,
but like I feel like this is your big surprise, and it starts the mystery of Arkham. You know, there's something more to the story than just
hmm
what we set up with the Black Mask, and what he knows from the file, um, in the Zoo storyline.
yeah. This definitely pushes the story forward, and it feels kind of like it's a natural progression in a way because Bruce mentions after the Black Mass incident, the city's under martial law. So they're taking everything that happened very seriously, which is not something we typically see in Gotham. You know, the Joker could murder half the city, and the next day it goes on like it was nothing. Oh well, time to continue.
Well, I love that Gotham's
Um,
not used to it yet. Like, I feel like they're going to get
that's
to a
true too.
point
Yeah.
where, because it's kind of like when you live in a place that gets a lot of snow, and it takes a lot for the school to be canceled, and
hmm
like they're not there yet. So, I think with Arc M, I think we're getting an escalation here, and we see Batman do the reconnaissance mission, kind of jumping through the clear sky because the snow stops, and he's talking to Pennyworth, who has information for him. And with my funniest part of this series, and one of the things I love about Snyder's writing, is uh, Pennyworth is like, "You're taking it easy, right? You're not. What's that noise?" And Batman's like, "It's the radio." And then at the end of this whole like interaction, uh, Pennyworth says, "We both know you don't have a radio."
Yeah.
I really like that because I like the give and take with uh, Alfred, and I like the fact that Alfred's not there, but you could still include him in the story. He seems very integral to Absolute Batman.
This Alfred is a different beast, and I like it. I enjoy this Alfred. I think it's been interesting to see him go from when we first meet him to where he is now, which I wouldn't say he's warm and cuddly or anything, but I think he's become a little bit softer to
Hmm.
Bruce. So we're seeing again a progression with that relationship, and I like the way it's being handled. But what really got me with this is that they're building a camaraderie here
Yeah,
that we didn't have before. So it's nice to see that relationship starting. I'm really liking that. Um, it's going to take me some getting used to that this is Alfred, though. I don't know about you, but I'm not really seeing him as Alfred. I'm seeing him as a different character. Not in a bad way. I like it. I'm just saying it's different.
it's not your butler. It's not your grandfather's Alfred, and
It's not your grandpa's
yeah,
Alfred. Yeah.
it's uh, well, the thing about this is, he plays kind of a role almost as like somebody from the League of Shadows or something, or someone in another
Yeah.
corner of the DC universe. But what I like about it is they're kind of mentor peer relationship, but they're also kind of peers. And like when they're
Yeah.
talking here, it's very much more like they're peers. They're in the same fight. They do the same line of work. I think in earlier issues, I think Alfred was underestimating him and looking at him as his little pupil or as his understudy kind of thing.
I think you're
And I
right.
think Alfred's got to the point where they have a mutual respect there, where he realizes this is the game. This is he could beat me up. I could beat him up. We're did we just become best friends?
Yeah, it's something like that. Because I think I would compare maybe to a Nick Fury at the start.
Ooh, I like that comparison.
Yeah, he felt more like Nick Fury than he did Alfred, but I think we're getting to a more familiar point now.
Nice.
I think, but it's still going to take some getting used to.
Yeah, it's going to be. Honestly, with the Ultimate Universe, I'm glad it's being refreshed. I'm glad that it's like this break from the status quo of Batman and the
Yeah,
convolution
hmm
of the storyline that's going on
we
now.
even have Alfred.
Right, but I Alfred's near and dear to my heart. So like I like an Alfred that's kind of like foreign military operative, like can patch Bruce up. I like that Alfred, kind of the one that can train
hmm
him. But I've never seen an Alfred that's just like a contemporary of Bruce's. Yeah, if you called him a different name, nobody would know this was supposed to be Alfred. That's what's so interesting about it.
That's my thing. Yeah, but he still works. Well, so far he's working as Alfred. I'm really looking forward to seeing them progress together because I think we're starting to see the seeds of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I
Oh,
I think that the reconnaissance mission was one of my favorite parts because I think this is where the art works so damn well. With the
hmm
colors, it kind of felt like an old school comic at that point. And I really liked that. Then you get him going into Arkham as Bruce. Funny enough, we were talking about Alfred. He uses
he
Pennyworth as his alias,
he went to V Corp.
V Corp. You know what? Thank you. That's why you keep me straight.
We have not seen Arc M. That's the thing. I gotta keep saying Arc M instead of Arkham. Arc M is some we've only seen
In the
from a
right,
panel,
the 4 second
which is a
video.
fun little thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a fun little
yeah.
thing.
This is why you're here. You keep me straight. You're a
I
straight
do what I
shooter.
can.
So we go to V Corp, and you see the frozen animals, the tiger, the beetle, and you've got young Mister Victor Freeze Jr. here, who we see in the beginning of the issue as a guy who has something coming out of his eyes, like he's not right. So there's a story there, and his parents were scientists who were looking for some big discovery. So uh, Bruce is keeping him talking, and he's like, "So, are your parents still over watching V Corp?" And he's like, "Something like that." And you get this shot of them frozen, um, connected to a bunch of wires or medical tubes or whatever that's supposed to be. And yeah, and then he says, "I'm their son," and that's where you get a lot of the shocking information coming out.
Do you like the way that panel looks?
I think
Not the one with the frozen chunks, but the panel, the reveal of Freeze and Nora, or Victor and Nora.
no, I don't love it.
Okay,
It
we're on the same
so
page.
the line work is really thin, and it looks creepy but not scary. Like it like I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling when I look at it. I don't know if
Mhm.
I'm supposed to be shocked, like out of this world shocked, or if I'm supposed to like be like, okay, this is a weird science experiment. I think I'm supposed to be afraid, but it doesn't make me afraid.
I was more shocked, and I immediately like latched onto the concept of, oh, okay, this is Victor Jr. We've never seen Victor Jr. This is
Right.
cool. This is something different.
Yeah.
It goes with the whole theme of the book.
Yeah.
This is
It's the
different. This
twist
is
on it.
new.
It's not Victor
It's
doing it for his wife. It's his son.
right. It's
And we don't even know if he's doing it for his parents in this really. Like,
That's what I was gonna get to. I feel like he's torturing
yeah,
them, and I kind of love that.
I feel like this is a sadistic Victor Jr. I feel like he is a true bad guy. Whereas I think Freeze is often a sympathetic guy trying to find a cure
Mhm.
for his wife. He's a bad guy, but like he can rationalize most of his stuff and most of the stories. Think of Heart of Ice, Batman the Animated Series, right? And I even in Batman and Robin, there was a little
Yeah,
flicker of that.
even in even in recent comics, like with I think it was Tamasi who did the 2 part or maybe it was 3 part Freeze story where Nora came out of the ice. I don't know if you read
I
that
haven't
one.
read it, so I'd have to check into that.
Well, well spoiler. Freeze gets heartbroken by what happens in it, and it kind of adds the sympathetic nature of the character.
I'm guess
Whereas here, like you said, it's not there.
yeah. So I'm guessing Nora wakes up and says, "I don't want anything to do with you." And that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, you kept me in ice. This is
I'm trying to
bullshit.
I'm trying to remember what it was, but there's a story where there's a comic book story. I forget who did it, where Batman's like, "You're just a mad researcher. You, she's not even like she not even your wife or something like that." It was interesting. So, trying to remember what that was, but yeah, I think this is a sadistic little prick. This Victor Jr.
That's what I'm thinking too. Just because the dialogue that's used, where he talks about how the ice is not graceful and it's other things, that's why I think maybe he's keeping them that way.
Yeah, it's almost like they saved his life with the ice, but they made him into a monster. So now
Hmm.
he's kind of getting back at them. And like when he transforms at the end, my favorite shot in this whole comic book is the shot where you just see his eyes, and he says, "I felt everything, every moment, and this pain.
Hmm.
My God, ice grinds and twists. The ice isn't grace. It's fury. It's reckoning," which is just what you were talking about, where he doesn't have this like love of ice. He's being tortured by it, almost like Darth Vader is kind of tortured in his suit. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's kind of what he's tormented by what he has become.
that's a great comparison because that kind of that might be close to what it is. And another thing about this, I like that we don't have the full spectrum of what's going on yet.
Hmm.
Snyder gave us just enough. I mean, we were going to read it anyway, but
Yeah.
it was just enough to hook us even more to this new version of Freeze. Um, and even going back to the opening with him as a child, I think it stands out because it's so brightly colored and different. And then, oh, here's Freeze's kid in the middle of this
Hmm.
rainforest, and I like the way they did that, and then it lead it into this. And I don't love again. I'm nitpicking the art, and I apologize, but I don't love the freeze reveal when you see him in all his glory. I guess you want to call it. This has more to do with the
Yeah.
artist and the design. It's not for me.
Yeah. It's this little like blow up doll floating in the wind. It's like it's just not. There's something just not there, and there's just this weird line work where it's like he kind of has a rib cage, but then it kind of goes all the way down. Like it doesn't make any sense. Uh,
I think they wanted to give him kind of an inhuman look, and I do like that part.
The red
I
eyes
like
work
the
for me. The
inhuman.
red and that particular red with that blue, that does work for me.
That looks really good, and I do like the proportions of the body to where he's kind of alien like in the way he's so slender
Hmm.
and kind of top heavy at the same time. It looks like so. I like parts about it, but I think the overall design or the overall I don't know something about it
So,
doesn't work. But other than that, this is a cool
so I kind
sequence.
of want to know where they're going next with this because I think it's a great cliffhanger because Bruce is alone and he's as Bruce. He's not prepared as Batman in this.
Right.
And um like I kind of wonder what the way out of this is. And I think one of the story elements that was being brought up is that his friends are saying, look, you're going to die if you keep going. This, you can't keep doing this alone. And I think this might be a wake up call for Bruce that this could be the close call that almost stops him from his entire mission.
I'm curious about that because we know what's coming after this storyline. So if Freeze is going to challenge him, what is the next guy about to do to
Yeah.
him? That's kind of the way I'm thinking of it too,
Yeah.
because we know already.
Well, Bruce
What
isn't
I
going to die.
Well, of course not. No, he's not going to die. But I do wonder if this causes some adjustments in his mission and the way he does things, or maybe this is when Alfred and his relationship really come
Mhm.
together a lot stronger or something.
Maybe he's definitely going to have someone that helps him and somebody that can see the things he doesn't see when he burrows headfirst into things. Um, what was it's kind of conflicting what he did though in previous issues, because in previous issues he was so good at using the environment against him and he seemed so planned and meditated, and this Bruce almost seems like he's being dumb, like he put himself at a lot of risk here.
Hmm. Well, I don't think he expected this,
No,
of
yeah,
course.
that's true. Yeah, that's incredibly true. Like, why would there be this
Freeze
freeze
monster.
monster who's this, I don't want to say kid. He's kind of drawn to look like a kid. He's an adult,
I
but
like that a lot,
yeah,
actually. I like his human design, if we
yes,
can call it that.
his human
Because
design.
yeah, his human look looks. I was gonna say cool. It looks really neat when you see him transform. It's like, oh wait a minute, this guy becomes that cool.
Yeah,
So I do like that part of it, and I like that he looks like a child. I think that makes it a little bit better in a way. Also, I mean, Bruce is relatively young too, so that's another thing we're seeing differently with this version of Freeze and Batman. They're on even playing ground, whereas usually Freeze is an older man. I think Freeze is typically in his 50s or 60s
yeah,
most of the time.
yeah.
They're not usually in the same age group.
Well, because he's supposed to be a distinguished scientist by the time things go down. Right.
Right. So, I mean, if Bruce is 30, this guy's probably like 50 or 60.
The other thing that we didn't talk about here is we got that list of names to the files. At the end of the 4 second video was a list, whether Matches wrote it or not, I don't know, but it's filled with names: Langstrom, Isley, Strange, Freeze, names of researchers, doctors around the world. The only one with any connection to Gotham is Dr. Victor Freeze, and of course that's how he goes to V Corps. But I'm like, okay, so Man Bat, Poison Ivy, like this is Hugo Strange. This is a
Mm-hmm.
lot, setting up a lot of possible Bat villains or Bat characters. Heck, they could be heroes of this universe for all we know. But
Well, that'd be an interesting twist. Well, Man Bat was used as a hero character before in comics, kind of like an anti-hero.
mhm.
And then, of course, he was in Beware the Batman as a hero,
Right,
too.
and Man Bat's also been sympathetic of in the sense that he's not in control when the Bat takes over.
Which I kind of prefer him just being a mindless animal,
Yeah,
but I'm good either way.
yeah. Um, I think Batman the Animated Series on Leather Wings is always going to be uh
Yeah,
my favorite of the,
that's Man Bat
yeah.
to me.
That's also that jump scare in Arkham City.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
it's
that's a good
so
one.
good. It's like the first time you play that, you're like, what the?
Yeah, yeah, that is a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, so if I had to pick like top three Man Bat appearances, and I'm not a huge Man Bat fan, I would definitely go On Leather Wings, Arkham, and I really do like the Beware the Batman, Bela Lugosi
Mhm.
Man Bat. Even though it's not my favorite to see him as a hero, I just like that version.
Beware the
But if they do
Beware the
something,
Batman is not very loved, so I'll allow the love here.
it should be. It's
It
underrated,
is. It is.
and I will forever be upset I didn't get the final look at Two Face. But that's another show, I think. Um, But if any of these characters are not their usual counterparts, I think that'd be fine.
Yeah. And,
It's interesting that Isley is like we've never seen Poison Ivy as a science, like, well, I guess
well,
as a
her
scientist,
dad
but
is often a scientist, and I don't know if you listen to Batman Unburied.
no.
So Batman Unburied, Fallen City, she was the victim of her father's experiments, and that's what turned her into Poison Ivy.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if maybe they're going that route. Maybe the researcher is her father. Um, that's something that I could see them doing.
That could be it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Pamela. That's
Yeah,
right. That's true. My first thought was, oh, Pamela's never been a psychiatrist or a therapist, so that was different. But I think you're onto something there.
yeah. I think there's these names open up possibilities of things they can do. They don't commit them to any stories. That's why it's a great tease. I think this entire
It is.
episode, or this entire issue, I should say,
Feels like an
yeah, it
episode.
does. This entire issue is really setting up a lot. I think it's a stepping stone issue for the series because it's starting the new arc. I mean, the Zoo arc was really tight and like perfect. I think that is
Mhm.
exactly what they envisioned. Like that's the story they wanted to tell right out the gate with Ultimate Batman. And then they're like, okay, what's next? And then they, I think we're getting to what's next. So we didn't get like any of the uh, Joker stuff really in this issue.
All we know is that
Yep.
J.K. funds Arc. They're gonna have some fun with these letter things,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, J.K. Funds Arkham, and we haven't seen the finished Arkham yet either,
Right.
which I'm really interested to see. I'm wondering if it's going to look like the traditional Arkham,
Mhm.
or if it's going to look kind of like the glimpse we get at it looks more like Alcatraz or something.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what it's gonna be like.
You get the shot of it, like the fierce water around it, and right off the coast of Gotham. That's a really interesting image, and you know the windowless cells, um, screaming. The fact that it's operational is really the big nugget you get out of that.
Yeah, and that they're already torturing people essentially.
Right. And
I think that also has something to do with the way Joker is,
so,
because he's not just going to be the standard Joker.
yeah, I can see this Joker being like a sadistic experimenter almost.
Hmm.
Um, we saw that little baby suit, I think is what we were calling it.
Yeah, the
The
fetus suit or
fetus suit,
something.
yeah. And I think this guy is going to be a little unhinged and sadistic. So
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. Again, we've only been teased Joker really in this. We've got a very little glimpses, so we know he's the big player. And I love your he's the Ra's al Ghul theory. I love that theory.
Yeah,
It's starting to
I,
not make me think it's going to happen, but I did love that theory.
I something happened in another one of these absolute books that I think clears that one out.
Okay.
But maybe he's still the leader of something. We'll see.
All right. Uh,
Or maybe he's like a Mister Sinister type Joker. I don't know. We'll
all
see.
right. And we're getting close to a half hour, and I think that's about where we're going to be. So give me a grade for this issue. What would you say would be the grade for this issue? You got a lot of steep competition with 1 through 6.
We're doing letter
Yeah,
grades.
I'm going to be a teacher, so we're doing letter grades.
Okay, I'm gonna go to A for this one.
Okay. I'm gonna go to a B plus. I think the art was a little inconsistent for me. Some things jived with me better than others, and the story for me, it took a while to really the story beats to not mix together. For me, I feel like I keep mixing V Corp and Arkham in my head when I'm reading this issue, and that's probably just a me thing. I'm gonna give it a B plus because it didn't entirely click with me.
That's fair. I think that I also go back and forth on the first time I read it. I don't think I realized it was V Core either, but I read it when I had one eye
Yeah.
open. So, um, but I think that for me, it read really well on the first read, but the second one solidified some things, cleared up a few things, and
Mhm.
I will agree the art is inconsistent for me too. But when it works, it really
It really
works.
works. Yeah. And the colors in this are really vibrant. And when
Yeah.
they lead to some moments that really stay with you. So I understand aesthetically what they were going for. I
Mhm.
think that's kind of the hodgepodginess of comics is you're putting a lot of things out there. Some of it's going to work, some of it's not going to work. But in terms of aesthetics, this issue, I think really is a bit different than what we've gotten. But it's still the same storytelling. I think it's really good.
Agreed.
So I would like to thank you for being here with me on this talk. I know we usually have Ron here to buffer in our thing, but this actually stayed more on the rails than I expected it to. So I appreciate you for your guiding light on that front. And you can follow us at Soups and Sabers on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Facebook. I believe. And you follow me at Multiversal Omni for this, at Football Man 58 for the football stuff if you're into that. But Chris Evans. Tell them where they can find you.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70. I do a bunch of different stuff. It's all on there.
Yeah. DC Unlimited, by the way, the Superman episode. It's very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a nice walk with my dog listening to that, and always appreciate you guys getting into it.
Thanks.
So with that, I guess we'll bid you adieu and keep having fun with Absolute Batman.